So everybody knows who I am. I'm Brother Tamani, the author of the book Black Gold Devalued, contributing member to the Black Gold movement. And as you all know, we've been talking about rebuilding Black Wall Street so that we can better own and control the community. And to do that, as I've said several times, we need to have leadership in the right place in multiple areas, in multiple departments. And we're going to start having candidate interviews so that those persons who are participating and voting in the election can meet the candidates, learn more about them, ask them questions, and feel comfortable as much as possible as that person being a leader for the national Black community. And our first candidate is Brother Robert Harding, whom we are going to interview, speak with, converse with this evening. So before we get started, Sister April, she is my number one. You know, they say behind every great man, there's a great Black man, there's a greater Black woman. Well, April's right behind my wife, so she's awesome. So I don't know, April, do you want to go over the house rules now, or you may have everybody introduce themselves? How do you want to do that?
I would like to go over the house rules first, and then we could do the introductions briefly.
Cool. I have it.
Okay, so basically we're going to have an approximately 20-minute or so interview, and then thereafter, or during that time, we'll be in the listen-only mode, except for Tamani and Brother Robert. And then thereafter, we'll have a 15-minute Q&A session. And if we need additional times for questions, what I'll do is post a link in the chat box. And the chat box you can find at the bottom of your screen. Now, some of you may be using your mic on the computer to listen to the webinar. And if you're having any trouble hearing, it may work better for you to call in on a landline or a cell phone. And then, speaking of the audio, can everyone hear me? I just want to make sure that everyone can hear.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if anyone has questions, during interview time, we ask you to place your questions in the chat box, and then they'll be answered during the Q&A session. What I'll do is read the questions, and then they'll be answered by Brother Robert. And then if you want to speak during the Q&A session, please raise your electronic hand, and you can see that, I believe it's in the top left corner, raise hand, you press that icon. And then you can take yourself off the mute. And then last of all, just so you know, let me make sure this is happening, we will be recording the event, okay? And we'll have the recording available next week. Okay, that's it.
Cool. All right. I've already given my intro, so we can start with Sister Nanyamka, Brother Benford, and then Brother Robert and Brother Dwayne. I'm assuming Dwayne is going to participate. He's back there. If he is, have him introduce himself. If not, then have him introduce himself because they need to know who he is as well. So, Sister Nanyamka, you first, then Brother Benford, then the other brothers.
Okay. I'm Nanyamka Omadili, a.k.a. Sherry Jefferson. I live out here on Beulah Land Christian Center, and I'm a member of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church. Other than that, I'm just in a position where I'd like to see this group be very successful and do whatever I can to ensure that happens. That's it.
All right, thank you. And really quickly, you guys will have heard me say and will forever hear me say that I was a very proud member of the Shrines of the Black Madonna for 20 plus years. Nanyamka was a mother to me, mentor, group leader, group member, and she's someone that not only fully understands the importance and power of being in a community that's owned and controlled by Black people, but she lived it as well. So if you think I'm lying, ask her. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful sister. I did not make it up. All right, Brother
I guess I'm next.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ian Banu, and I basically could describe myself as a spiritual deconstructionist. I've spent at least 20 years of my life deconstructing, learning to live off the land, and learning to live as simple a life as I can to empower myself to be able to disconnect from the American edifice, as you would, and learn how to sort of exist as a human being on my own again. And have gotten to that place where I think it's necessary for us all to do the same to some degree, and to sort of de-enfranchise ourselves and learn to stand on our own together. That's about it.
Right. Amen. Amen.
Welcome.
Okay. Brother Robert and Brother Dwayne, before you go, I see Sister Trinity, she made the call. So sister, we are simply introducing ourselves. So if you can give us a few words about yourself and who you are and all that groovy stuff, that'd be great. Make sure you unmute your mic. Well, she was there. I'm not sure where she went. Okay, well, I guess I don't know where she went. So, okay, Robert, you can go ahead, or Dwayne, whichever one is next. Unmute your mic, brother.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Dwayne Evans. I guess you can call me a revolutionary from a different kind of perspective, because I look at things slightly different, meaning that I'm not only an entrepreneur, but I'm an advocate for the right type of entrepreneurship. Too many times we've been doing business just to be doing business and not being calculating and building communities. So when I ran across Robert, when I ran across Tamani, Brother Tamani, then I realized that I wasn't the only one that thinks like this, that we need to build. And so I'm just a part of the movement. I have a green energy company, algae company, and Global Eco Resources. I'm a member and partner with Robert with RST Bioscience. We're also working on the initiative for the Veterans Garden. So we're excited about all the different initiatives we got going on. I'm just here as a beacon and as an opportunity to bring the right people together and for us to build. So that's pretty much me.
Amen.
Welcome.
Okay, my name is Robert Harding, and as Dwayne said, we're working together on a couple of different fronts in private industry, trying to get food independence in our community as a first step toward being completely independent and self-sufficient. I feel like it must start with the food, because that's the most fundamental need we have next to water. So I've been growing food for a while now. My expertise is in aquaponics specifically, which is using fish water basically to grow vegetables for organic gardening. It's a great technique for urban gardening. It's very effective, and it's become more popular all the time. I started talking to Tamani about this about 6 or 8 months ago, and I've been very enthusiastic and energetic about the whole process. I think it's way past time for us to do something like this. We've been thwarted in any attempt we tried in the past to make this happen, but I feel like things are lining up for us now to make this happen. And I'm trying to get myself in a position to take the whole process to the extent that I can.
Okay, we have Brother Deshaun. He made the conference. Brother Deshaun, we're just giving brief intros as to who we are and how we got to be here. So if you can give us a brief intro as to your background and what brought you here, that'd be good. And then we can get going. Make sure you unmute your mic.
I live in Michigan. I have a degree in psychology and science, and I just got interested in helping out before just doing a lot of reading and stuff like that. I got real interested in helping out. Just to make a long story short.
All right, he made that long story short. One day we'll get the long story.
Right.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to I hope and pray Sister Trinity is still there. I see her name is there. Her mic's still muted, so hopefully she's still there. So we're going to get into the interview. And I've spoken about Brother Robert several times in the videos that I've made in saying that having this election is extremely important because we need people in key areas that know what they're doing. And he's a brother that I met via Brother Dwayne. And he said, after he and I spoke, he said, you're missing a department, an area. And I said, what am I missing? And he said, we need someone who can plan and design our cities. I was completely blown away by that statement because I always think of myself as that brother that got everything covered. But to my surprise, I missed a major piece. So we didn't have a name for it at the time. So we went back and forth over a few days and we finally came up with the name City Planning and Business Integration. So Brother Robert, my first question to you is, what does that mean to you, city planning and business integration, and why is that so important as it relates to this election and what we're trying to do moving forward?
Well, it's fundamental to what we're trying to do. I mean, we're trying to get off the grid and have our own self-sufficient community. So, of course, we're going to have a plan, but the plan has to be phased in because it can't just appear overnight. So we've got to really start with some fundamental types of services and products that we can produce ourselves that's going to help us to get where we want to be more effectively, more efficiently. The idea is that eventually, as we grow out our community, we'll grow our businesses out in an organic way where they're sustainable and integrated in terms of not wasting any energy, not wasting any materials. That everything is either recycled or repurposed towards something that is practically useful for our community. And for example, one company's waste could be the raw materials for another company to produce the product that they specialize in. So that at the end of the day, overall, we'll be more efficient and more effective at being a city and being self-sufficient and taking care of ourselves.
Okay. You said that this thing has to be phased in, has to be done in phases. What are some of those phases?
Well, one of the fundamental things we have to do is, as I said earlier, is to be able to feed ourselves.
Okay.
That's what it really is. This old siege. Legally, control our spot. And maybe we can get basis and start take what we want. So, you know, I've been at it before. Right here in Texas, but we are produce our own food. We remove that bonus, no longer subject to somebody else's powers over our basic systems. So that's what we want to do. Is move this out and start going out from there.
Okay. So when you said phases, you didn't mean necessarily phases to the department. You mean phases for our freedom, our liberation, our salvation. The phases of us being independent. Is that what you meant?
Yes, we can't manufacture everything we need just overnight.
Right.
We can bring together a lot of skill sets. Now, we can do most anything in the world, but for us to be able to integrate all these different functions and capabilities, it's going to take some time. But while we're doing that, we want to make sure we have the basics covered so that we are more or less independent. As we become completely independent, we'll be able to hold our own, so to speak, without subject to the broader society and whatever pressures they might want to bring to bear on us as a community. We have our own power immediately, and our own food supply, own water supply. With those three things, we have what we basically need. It will give us time to build out all the other businesses around, whatever it is we decide we want to do as a community. We can't do everything because we're going to be a community. Eventually, we can do everything if we have more communities that are added to our nation. But initially, it's not going to be 1,000 communities. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 communities, and we can do a lot with that, but we can't do everything. So we want to get as independent on the essential things as early as possible and start facing in more things as time will allow, and we are able to stabilize our community and start making appropriate, intelligent additions to the community to add the capabilities that we need to be completely independent. After you get power and food with sewage and waste treatment, that kind of thing, which is going to be a very important part of our basic sustenance. You got to be able to get rid of your waste.
Right.
If we do it in the right way, we can actually make it a profit center, depending on our infrastructure. Because waste is nothing but an opportunity to make energy these days.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, we grow organically, we grow intelligently, and phase in things as early as we can, but not try and do everything at once, because
Right.
it'll be a lot to try and accomplish in a very short period of time. We can do a lot, but we can't do everything easily.
I got you. Okay. So I was going to ask for you to better explain the title, City Planning and Business Integration, but you just did a pretty good job of the city planning part. Can you give us a little bit of insight on what you mean by business integration? How does that relate to that department?
Well, business integration is as I was saying earlier, it's a matter of making sure you are efficient in everything you do, minimizing waste, repurposing things, recycling things, using everything that we have to produce something of value. It could be taking all our waste from our food scraps and creating fertilizer for our farms, or making diesel fuel from it. It's a lot of opportunities in waste that people just walk right by. Wastewater treatment is another area too. It's great, rich fertilizer for algae, for example, or other different crops, for food crops and whatnot. If it's treated properly, it can be safe to use and extremely effective. So there's ways we can live smarter and more sustainably in the brighter society, which will make us a more affluent society. If we do everything that we're thinking about doing, do it right, we won't waste anything. All of our wealth that we generate will be used and utilized towards some greater purpose.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that answer. Very cool. So I'm assuming, and of course I gave a little background as to how we met and how we came up with that department. And you obviously run it because you feel like you can fill the need, so to speak. How do you think that Black people can be free, liberate ourselves, do our own thing, without this kind of department? How important, how vital is this kind of department as it relates to us rebuilding Black Wall Street? Can it be done without this area being covered? How important is this department?
I think it would be doable, but it would be more difficult, because anytime you have resources that you're not utilizing, then you're leaving money on the table. You're wasting resources. We can't afford to do that starting off, especially. And if we grow sustainably and organically, as we become more lucrative as a community, we get to hold on to a lot of that money, keep it right at home, as opposed to having to spend it on things that we would have to consume, that someone else produces. We might contract out for our city water to someone else, instead of making our own wells and generating our own water, catching rainwater, whatever we have to do to get our own water. There's ways we can do that, but I have to contract out, our water or our wastewater treatment, or our any number of things you can think of. We can be self-sufficient if we plan appropriately and use everything that we have at our disposal.
Okay. We didn't cover this initially. We kind of got into it. So let me take one step back. You obviously feel that you are a qualified candidate. And I sent everyone your data sheet. I emailed it to them. But just give us a little bit more information on your background as to you in this upcoming election. What makes you the candidate for this department?
Well, I've been very involved in sustainability over the last several years. Let me just give you a little history. I'm from California originally, San Francisco. I went to the University of California and got a bachelor's degree in biology, and I went to the University of California again and got my master's degree in biology as well. I studied biogeochemistry, which is basically the way bacteria move around minerals and stuff in the ocean to take care of our ecology on the planet. So my background is there, but that same expertise has been very helpful in terms of understanding a lot of processes that go on that are not related to the ocean, because microorganisms do a lot towards running everything that we see and do around, in our communities. For example, growing food. Yeah, plants can't even grow at all without microorganisms that live on their roots that help them to absorb nutrients. Okay, so they're all around us. They do a lot of different things. And, my expertise led me into sales in the biotech industry, which I did for a number of years. And I got a chance to travel all over the country, all over Canada, and research. I was doing research before that, and I was able to travel the world and see how other people live in different parts of the world. And a lot of people live very humbly, but very well. If they have the right climate and the right natural resources, quality of life they have is phenomenal. And they don't really use a lot of money in a lot of places. So money is something that is a social construct, really. You know, when you talk about what you need food, you need water, you need human interaction.
Right.
That's what we really need. You know, money is something a tool for barter. We can barter with money. We can barter whatever we produce. You know, we can trade for money if we want to have money to be more liquid in the broader society. But if we're going to get off the grid and be self-sufficient, our focus should be on sustaining ourselves in every way that we can. I've been doing a lot of stuff in permaculture. Permaculture is just a way to live in harmony with nature and to be efficient and effective in all that you do in terms of day-to-day living. How you grow your food, how you raise your meat, how you get your water, using the sun and using water to warm your house, for example. A lot of things like that. How you use your chicken waste to grow your food, how you use the food waste to produce your energy. All these things, it's like integrated living for an individual family. To extrapolate that out to a whole city is not that great of a stretch. If people, cooperate and collaborate, and everybody's on the same page in terms of, sticking to some basic rules. Okay, don't throw your scraps down at garbage disposal. Put them in the compost heap or whatever, so that we can use that to create our fuel to run our generators. Everybody has to have solar panels on the roof. Things like that. I mean, everybody has to agree that that's a good idea and then do it. So cooperative living is key, but towards the right end, towards efficiency, towards freedom from the grid, towards independence, true independence, where we don't need anyone else but ourselves. And it should be quite a natural state for us being the original man.
Amen. Okay, you mentioned two of your areas. You have a few of them, but two of your areas of expertise being hydroponics and aquaponics.
Yeah.
Can you give us a lay, and I do mean lay because you long-winded, a lay understanding of both hydroponics and aquaponics?
Okay, well, hydroponics is just raising food without soil. Typically, people will use synthetic fertilizers for this purpose because it's difficult to do completely organic fertilizer for hydroponics. Aquaponics is completely organic, and it's used as just fish waste that's in the water that the fish live in to actually feed the plants. In the process, the plants clean the water for the fish, and it's just put right back into the fish tank with the fish, and it goes cycling back and forth between the fish and the plants. The beauty of it is that you use less than 10% of the water that you would ordinarily use to grow your food, the same amount of food. You save 90% of your water to grow the same amount of food. And you also are raising a source of protein as well as your fresh organic vegetables. So I'm really high on this technology. Although I have to say, I have been experimenting with some things to allow us to do organic hydroponics, and my experiment's working out really well. So I imagine we would have some options in that regard. Certainly would be able to do both if we wanted to.
Okay. Just so everyone knows, when Robert, myself, and April did a test run of this a few days ago, I told Robert, and I'm gonna tell him again, whatever music he's listening to, stop all that damn head bobbing, because you moving too much and you making me nauseous. So and your juicy head still. So, so, so we can get through this.
Let me turn Earth, Wind, and Fire off.
Yeah, please do. Turn down that Frankie Beverly. Okay, so you said aquaponics. You using the fish waste. I guess the fish's ecosystem to grow the food. Does it matter what kind of fish it is, or is it any kind of fish?
Most fish should do just fine. Any kind of fish, actually, but some fish are more conducive than others in terms of being able to grow them in dense populations, or their resilience and how robust they are and how they stand up to temperature fluctuations or different environmental conditions. Some fish are just tougher than others.
Okay. Okay, and this is something that can be done in someone's apartment, in their city, something that they can do in their home, as well as a large greenhouse as well, right? I mean, this can be done on multiple scales, correct?
Yeah, you can do it in a teacup, or you can do it in a warehouse.
And what can be grown using aquaponics and hydroponics? What kind of food can you grow? Is there a certain type of food that it can only be grown using this method, or is it just wide open to grow whatever?
You can grow anything. Matter of fact, you can probably grow more things in that system than you can outside, because if you're indoors, you control the environment more completely than if it's just out in the ground outside. You got more problems with pests. You got more problems with environmental fluctuations. So it's got a lot of advantages. It's less work. You don't have to bend down to pull up weeds and all that kind of stuff. It's no tilling the soil and all that. It's pretty straightforward, and it's pretty relatively easy, but it requires a pretty in-depth knowledge of the ecology, basically.
Okay.
That you're trying to actually use to produce. But you
Okay,
can grow all kinds of different food. Any kind of food you can think of, you can grow it in an aquaponic system. Some things tend to be more compatible because of the turnaround time and whatnot. And if you're trying to do a business, some things have higher value basically than others. But you can grow pretty much anything in this type of system, and you can raise almost any kind of fish too. I've got clams, I've got lobsters, crawfish, catfish, bass, all kinds of fish that I raise right now.
Right.
Different systems for different reasons. But yeah, you can do crustaceans. You can do pretty much anything.
So if aquaponics and hydroponics are superior ways, in multiple ways of growing food, then why isn't it done more on a larger scale? Why, when we see American farmers on the television screen or whatever, they don't have aquaponics or hydroponic systems. They're pulling stuff from the ground with row after row after row of corn and cabbage or whatever. So why aren't these superior food growing systems used more if they are superior?
Well, I think it's not necessarily compatible with capitalism. That's the issue. It's more compatible with a smaller scale.
Okay.
These agribusinesses that grow the majority of the food that people eat, they're not interested in anything that has to be grown on a smaller scale. They want to do stuff that's going to take up 1,000 acres of land and grow enough food to net $500,000 a week or something. We're not trying to do all that. We just want to go healthy, organic food and take care of ourselves and our families. Now, a small scale operation is perfect for that. And these types of techniques they don't scale up at well. If we wanted to grow enough food we couldn't compete with Monsanto. We couldn't compete with some of the bigger farms and stuff. We wouldn't want to try and do that with that type of technique.
Mm-hmm.
Engaged in the activity, we can grow way more than we need. We can grow enough food for ourselves and enough to make some money off of it as well.
So
properly.
So you're saying our principal, technique, for lack of a better term, our principal technique for growing our food will be smaller, centralized hydroponics and aquaponics systems, as opposed to a large traditional kind of farm. We're not going to try and have a large farm like we see traditionally. We're going to have smaller aquaponics farms, or hydroponics farms in key locations around the city. Am I following you? Is that correct?
For us to eat, yeah. What we do with in terms of other things, business opportunities and whatnot, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
But I'm not feeding that stuff to my kids.
What stuff?
The synthetic fertilizers and all that. And
Oh, I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. Your phone went out. Oh, there you go. Okay. So what is the biggest threat to the department? If you were to win the election and you're running this department, what would you say the biggest threat to the survival of that department? What would it be?
Well, I mean, a city is like a business, basically, and the biggest threat to any business is being undercapitalized. But even more than that, before you can even embark on this endeavor, it takes a full commitment from everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be as great a threat as being undercapitalized. If everybody is engaged and committed, then we won't have any problems with being undercapitalized, because we got a lot of buying power in this country, and if we pool our resources like
Definitely.
we should be flush.
Right. Okay. Okay. So if you were to win the election, what are some of your immediate, short, mid, and long-term goals for the department? Immediate, first 30 days, short-term, 6 months, mid-range, 9 to 12 months, long-term, 2+ years.
Short term, it's all about planning. It's all about planning and getting the right people on board to assemble a team of professional people who are qualified and capable and committed to making this whole project successful. And sitting down around a conference table and hammering out every detail of land acquisition, the leases, the managing our resources, planning for long-term, 5 years, 10 years, and putting together a timeline for our short-term goals. That's the first thing that has to happen. The next thing would be to find our location and start putting together the infrastructure that's going to allow us to have the city. Sewer lines down if we need that, installing the solar if we need that, whatever we need to have our infrastructure in place. So we start building out, we have all the infrastructure we need to build out in a sustainable, healthy fashion.
Okay.
But
So
down the line, I'm thinking we should be thinking about expanding to other locations, making other cities after the model that we first developed. Then I have to work some bugs out, of course. Anything new is going to have. But
Sure.
after we do that, we should have a model we can just roll out to different locations and start popping up cities wherever we need to support our folks.
Okay, so if one of the first things you would try to do or need to do is assemble a team of persons that can support the department, what are some of those? What is some of that expertise? What kind of people should we be looking for now, so that we can hit the ground running? So if we know that you're going to need to assemble a team, what kind of expertise are we looking for?
Engineers, civil engineers especially, electrical engineers, people who can do surveys on land, all types of scientists we need to do. We need to have somebody who's up to doing environmental impacts work, that type of work. We want to make sure that we go into this thing with a plan to take care of our land. Our land is our life's breath. We have to manage it. We have to take care of it. We have to make sure that we put together systems that are not going to harm it. So that's going to be really critically important. Of course, it's going to be the financial end of it. If we get together some bankers in the group, that would be good.
Okay, cool. And I think the last question that I have for you is, where's that last? Okay, all right. So you are currently involved with a fundraiser Can you give us a little bit more information about that fundraiser that you're involved in and what you're working on?
Yes, we have a couple opportunities in South Carolina right now. Dwayne and myself have been working on for a while now that involve us partnering with some business people, Black business people down in that part of the country who just broke ground, I guess, a month and a half ago on a 82,000 square foot indoor growing facility. Going to be hydroponics, exclusive. It's going to be inside of an existing structure, a building.
Okay.
But that's up and running. And we'll be partnering with them, consulting and managing the grow operations with them. And there's also a 57-acre lot outside that we're going to be able to put some greenhouses on in another part of that, near that same part of South Carolina. And across the state, there's a project that's we're just getting off the ground. We just got one of the first commercial licenses issued in the state. This is the first year they issued them. We got a license to grow 20 acres of hemp. I don't know what you guys know about hemp, but hemp is one of the most useful materials that you could ever grow. You can make clothes, food, fuel, just about anything you need from hemp. Building materials, all of that. And the technology is well established. It's one of the oldest materials, plants that's been used for all these purposes that exist. And it wasn't even illegal until the last 50, 60 years ago. So when for capitalist reasons, they made it illegal because it was going to compete, always did compete with the fossil fuel industry, but they're starting to unleash it now because they know this fossil fuel thing is doomed to phase out.
Okay.
So they're reintroducing hemp again. So we got a license to grow in South Carolina, and I need to get down there and try and help them plan the first grow this year. So we should be planting in a couple of months, actually. So we're just trying to get those projects off the ground right now. Raise some funds, we can go down there and do a tour of all 3 sites and put our requests in and our suggestions in how we should structure the whole operation and get things running right down there. These are the same types of skills we're going to need and materials we're going to need to start our own communities. We're going to do greenhouses on 57 acres, the indoor facility that's growing food also, mostly lettuces, and the hemp. Well, the hemp is a no-brainer. If you get hemp in hand and you have the ability to process it and maybe even manufacture with it, that's going to be so tremendous in terms of business opportunities you can't even imagine, because you can do practically anything with it. So we're trying to get our feet on the ground. Then some of the first people involved in this, now they're kind of taking the handcuffs off of this industry because when it comes back, it's going to come roaring back. We want to be right there.
So everything we've just been discussing, you have a fundraiser to actually start doing all that stuff?
Actually, we do.
You mean we haven't just been talking, black man? What? Okay, well, amen. Okay, I'm sorry, that was funny to me. Okay, greenhouses. What I know about greenhouses is plants, roses and daffodils and whatnot, so that can't be right. What kind of greenhouses are you guys looking at building?
This is going to be all aquaponics vegetable farms.
Okay.
We're going to do several greenhouses. It's not just going to be 1 or 2. And they're going to, be rather large, about 30,000 square feet each.
3,000? 30,000 square feet?
Yeah.
A greenhouse that's 30,000 square feet?
Several of them.
Man, that's a mansion. Okay. So before we open this thing up for Q&A, let me say, everyone on the call and those that didn't make it, we have 2 that are still trying to log in. I don't know why they can't log in, but everyone with the exception of Sister Nanyamka, who was also a member of the Shrine with me, I met all of you guys through either an introduction from someone else or a link I posted on Facebook. I post something, you like it, I send you a friend request because I'm thinking you might be down for something Black. So I'm stating that, and April was an introduction from my cousin out of Atlanta. So I'm stating that to say that other than Sister Nanyamka, I met all of you, brothers and sisters, via an introduction and or social media. There are Black people out there in the country that are doing some amazing things. Brother Robert did not mention his contract with NASA and aquaponics, him being a high school physics, chemistry, and something else that he teaches. The brother is quite intelligent. There is Black excellence all over this country that are doing some amazing things for other people as well as Black people. The fact that we did not know one another 6, 7, 8 months ago, but we are now on a video conference call, stresses the importance of us reaching out to find other like-minded Black people who are willing to do something and have the ability to do. I pride myself on being a serial entrepreneur, and my wife will tell you she's tired of me trying stuff, but me being who I am, she'll be talking about raise the roof. But me being who I am is how I met Sister April, and she has been absolutely fantastic with the organization, with the flyers, with the event planning, with the technology. And I didn't know her 6, 7, 8 months ago, if that. But now we talk multiple times a day. She's very annoying. She won't leave me alone. Everything is Black people. I'm like, what about the white man? She's just, some Black people. But she's been there. And Brother Deshaun is Michigan. So and if you don't know, the Black Gold Ambassador, they will be the face of the movement in that particular city. And he's been very good at sharing what I post, trying to get people involved with what I post. And we need people on the ground in multiple cities around this country if this is going to work. It's going to take more than the 6 or 7 of us that are on this video conference call to make this work. So I posted something on Facebook. Brother Benford liked it. It took him forever to read my extremely Black verbiage, but once he read it, he realized, my God, this brother is brilliant. So he and we had a conference call, and he's been aboard. So all I'm trying to say is that none of us are going to make it individually. And everyone on this call understand and realize that we need each other. But if we don't actively work to connect with one another, then Brother Robert can talk all day long about expertise in hydroponics and aquaponics and permaculture and building cities and blah, blah, blah. If we don't do the work, it'll never happen. So we need to get serious about not only connecting with people who say they want to do something, but get serious about finding that qualified Black leadership that's already out there that we can bring into the fold under one umbrella moving forward. So I just wanted to stress the importance of us working together, taking whatever time we have to connect with one another and reach other people, because it's important. No one else is going to, I don't know what that is. Hope that's his arm. No one else is going to do this stuff.
I had to plug in my phone, sorry.
Would you please stand still, Negro? No one else is going to do this thing for us. So with that, again, I want to thank you guys for being a part of the video conference. This is our first Meet the Client video interview. We will have several across all the departments. And this platform is actually, we can have up to 100 people who are a part of what we're trying to do. But it's going to take more than the 6 or 7 of us to make this happen. And the more people we have involved, the easier it's going to be for us to make it happen, because there is a lot of work to be done. I am so behind on connecting with people, sending emails, posting things. It's just a lot of stuff. And the more people we have that are apart, the easier it's going to be for all of us. And if you don't know, working with Black folk can be extremely difficult. We love our people, obviously, but, we have special issues that only we can deal with. And the more of us that are trying to work together as a group, the easier it'll be for us to make this thing happen. So I want to thank you guys for making time for the call. Now, time for the video conference call, and I'm opening it up for questions. And Sister April, you can handle that however you want to handle it. Just let us know.
Okay, as Tamani said, please, the floor is open to your questions.
All right, short and sweet.
Yeah, you can, if you have a question, let's handle it this way. You can unmute yourself.
No one has any, okay. No one has any questions?
All right. I don't have a question, but I just like to say I'm blown away by the information. Brother, you are very, very much on point. Where have you been all my life? You sing what you are espousing to do. I have been doing and trying to do for 20 years now. It's so good to hear someone say that. I have no questions. You have literally spoken everything that is important about self-sustainability, sustenance, growing our own food, and empowering ourselves. I thank you for that. That's all I got.
Amen.
Thank you, brother.
No one else have any questions? We did that good of a job? All right.
Robert, I have
Y'all have a question.
Oh, hell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I wanted to ask the brother, I know we covered the sustainable farming and all of the agribusinesses. The other part of the city planning, the priority businesses or services that's needed at the beginning, what would be your first 5 other than the actual farming and sustainable living, but a business or service in the as far as the city planning is concerned, what would they be?
Well, we have to put education up there, certainly towards the top. The kids are not going to put on pause while we figure everything out. We got to keep on educating them. And of course, there's energy, which is a vital part of any community. And we have to get out. If we're going to get off the grid, the first thing we got to do is produce our own energy. That's critical. And all this stuff is really tied in infrastructure. So the actual civil engineering and the construction of the roads, the street lights, all that stuff, that everything else is built on or around that make a city a city. That's going to have to be one of the top priorities as well. What's that, 4? You want more?
That's 3. Education, energy, construction, and infrastructure. I guess it's 4. Yeah, that's 4.
And food. Of course, the food is key.
So you're saying...
waste disposal, sorry. That's kind of part of infrastructure too, but not really. The facility to actually make it happen is part of infrastructure, but what happens with the waste, that's a whole different ballgame. After you actually remove the waste, what do you do with it? That's a business opportunity there we have to take advantage of, because we have to get rid of our waste starting from day one. And we're going to have an opportunity from day one to do something constructive with that waste in terms of making it into a revenue stream. So if we start off with that in mind, and that'll be one of the first businesses that we are able to build out, certainly that would be wise to do.
So I don't know if education, I guess if we're training people, that can be a service sector. But I have energy, construction, infrastructure, food, and waste disposal. Those will be the 5 service businesses that we will look at developing first. Is that correct?
That's correct. Education is just underlying, almost like more a religious pursuit than it is a business pursuit. We have to educate our kids, about how to live and how to treat each other and how to treat themselves.
Amen.
That's got to be a process that should be already underway.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There was one other question, if I could.
Please.
You mentioned South Carolina.
Yes, ma'am.
Where in South Carolina are you visiting?
Oh, well, the hemp location is Calhoun County.
Calhoun County?
Yeah, and the other locations are in the southeastern part of the state.
Okay. I live in South Carolina is why I asked.
Oh, really? Where?
Yes. I live on Beulah land. It's a very small place. It's near Anderson, South Carolina, not too far from Greenville.
Near Dr. Godfrey, no doubt. I say what's up.
This is where I live. And if you're coming down, I'm like, if it's not too far,
I will stop and see you for sure.
Check us out.
We'll be there. We'll be there. I gotta come see Dr. Godfrey, so I'll be right there. I'm gonna check you out.
Wait a minute, Dr. Godfrey, Muga?
Yeah.
That's where you're coming here?
Yes, ma'am.
You need a minute?
I do. I'm like, okay, you have no idea right now. Are you serious?
Well, that's the hemp opportunity is there.
Okay, I understand. I know what's here. I live here. I know exactly what's here. When you come see Muga,
bet.
Okay, cool. Wow.
Nanyamka?
If I have any other questions, I'll ask them when you get here.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
Nanyamka, he is very familiar with the shrine via my participation in this thing.
Yes.
So he knows who we are, and he will most certainly look you up when he gets there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Brother Benford?
Hold on. All right, here we go. This is a question that's been sort of on my mind, and especially comes up when you talk about city planning, because basically the definition of a city or cityscape is that it is a collection of people or businesses that they aren't sustainable in their collection. It's kind of what makes them a city. They're kind of put together for business. The very essence of it is unsustainable. Would it be easier? I'm thinking that it would be so much easier to work on a sustainable community rather than a cityscape. Why are we choosing cities? Even for infrastructure, rebuilding, all of that. Because you have to do so much more to convert a city into being sustainable than just taking an area and creating a sustainable village or sustainable community, right?
Well, when I use the term city, I don't necessarily mean a city that already exists. This can be something we built from the ground up, or something that we take something that exists but is not currently being utilized towards sustainable living. We can remodel it.
Yeah,
everything, re-establish it under a different set of rules, a different set of priorities that would make it sustainable. That's really the most important part of the whole endeavor, because as long as we are not sustainable, we're at the mercy of some other people. And that's what we don't want to do.
Absolutely. Done. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Brother Sean, no questions? All right. Okay, April, you don't have any questions?
I do, actually.
Okay.
I do. Very much interested in the hemp aspect of this project, and wondering if with the various types of products that you mentioned, whether it's building materials or food stuffs, etc., do you see the processing and the manufacturing part of the same? Would it be part of like the same manufacturing plant, or would it be separate plants for each commodity or each product?
Oh,
The idea really is to add value to whatever you do. So the more processing that you can actually accomplish in yourself, the more value you're able to add to it produce. So the idea is to build our capabilities out where that we're making all the textiles, the materials, the food products, et cetera, that can be made from hemp somewhere in the community. So if we start out with just growing it, selling wholesale, we can take the profits from that and start investing in the infrastructure to build our own plant, processing plant. If we do that, we can start thinking about, you know, producing the different other products from the same raw materials. Once we get the hemp going, we have all the capabilities to do whatever we want with it. It's just a matter of planning, saving, investing, and training our people appropriately, making sure we surround ourselves with the right expertise to make all these things happen. And having a long-term strategic plan that includes acquiring all the facilities that's going to be necessary to actually to process it to the extent that we're actually making products.
Okay. Okay. One thing at a time. Thank you.
Of course.
That was your only question, April?
Hold on. Let's see. Oh, just briefly, I wanted to know a little bit more about the Aquaponics for Life. It's a business, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious on how it functions, like its day-to-day type of operations. How does that work?
Well, it's custom systems that I built for people wherever they want me to build them. It could be a backyard. They might want me to do the whole backyard, put a greenhouse back there. Or they may want just a system on their patio, you know, something smaller or more discreet. They may want me to put a system that goes all around their fence, around the whole property, or on the wall of the house, or the roof of the house, or wherever. So wherever they want me to build it, I design it and build it, make sure it's functioning properly and get it running. And that's kind of my thing, you know, custom systems. I build systems, and like I said, teacup. I build out whole greenhouses. I'll be in Dwayne where I work on my greenhouse at my school today. I'm a teacher. I teach physics and environmental systems and aquatic science. And part of my program is we grow aquaponics and hydroponics at my school. We have 2 greenhouses. Both are 48 by 24 square feet. And Dwayne and I were out there working on the systems today. But that's what we teach the kids, how to make a business from growing local organic food. And also teach them about, you know, of course, the science that's involved in that. So it's a training center basically. Matter of fact, next month I'll be training teachers about how to run the facility, how to start one up, and how to manage it.
How long does that process of training take?
This is going to be like professional development, like a crash course, you know, a 2-day thing. But it's a you know, body of knowledge. It could take, you know, months to really master, and a lot of it requires that you get your hands in it and actually do it. You learn a lot more doing that than anything else. It's one of those things. It's as much alchemy as it is chemistry. So the more you do it, the better you get.
Gotcha. Okay, good. All right, appreciate it.
Sure.
Cool. Anyone else have a question? Nope. Going once. All right, going twice, 3 times. Okay, let me say this. And another thing I want you guys to think about before we close this thing out. This is just one department out of 18 so far, and the idea the idea of what we're working on is we want to keep the Black excellence that we produce in our children, in our community. As we have, I'm working on a Saturday program that we can start educating Black children on their history, their culture, what it means to be Black in America. But one of the things that the ambassadors will do as they are educating the children on these Saturdays is they'll be able to identify the talents and strengths of these children around the country. So as we create these cities that are self-sufficient, self-sustaining, that we protect, we live in, and we also have agribusiness, business development, economics and finance, education, foreign policy, media, marketing. We have these different departments that are working on behalf of Black people as we build and grow this nation within the nation. As we identify the talent of our youth, we'll be able to plug them into something that talent can be utilized, grown, supported, nurtured, and they never have to leave the safety of the Black nation and take that talent to white people. We will be able to create a system by which our children never have to step foot in a system that's anti-them, because from cradle to grave, we made it possible for them to live and exist in a system that's pro-them. So at the end of the day, if a child has a propensity for math or science or spirituality or reading or writing or whatever, he or she won't have to go to an external system or an external school. They can come to our system and our school because we are raising them within that system, within that school, and from cradle to grave. They can go to college or university or whatever, but they bring that talent back home, and we can always keep what we produce in-house to build our own nation. So as you think about what Brother Robert has said, and you think about the information he's given, and you think about the department that he's running for, and you think about what we're about to do, this is not a small endeavor by any measure. We're talking about something that can give Black children a way out. And as of right now, our children exist in a system where they feel trapped and they feel stuck and they feel like they don't have an opportunity. So if we know this American system is anti our Black children by what they have done and what they continue to do, then the only choice we have is to remove them from that system and put them in something that's pro them, that's going to help them move forward and live life as God intended it to be. So thank you guys for making the video interview. It was kind of rough starting out because all of you guys are colored, and I understand we have issues. But I'm gonna pray for all of you guys because I love y'all immensely, even though y'all. So we will eventually get this thing. I love you, baby. We will eventually get this thing down to a science where we'll have these interviews and we'll meet the candidates and blah 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 blah. So if you haven't already seen the videos that we've been posting on Facebook and YouTube and on the website, please check them out. Forward them to anyone you think would love to be a part of what we're trying to do, someone that can benefit from what we're trying to do. Brother Deshaun has done an excellent job of everything that I post. This brother is sharing it and sending it out, and he's doing all kind of crap, which is what we need. We need people like him across the board. You know, it's sad that on Facebook, I have literally identified 100 Facebook groups that have over 2.2 million followers or subscribers.
Right.
But it is extremely difficult to get any of those conscious Negroes to do anything. Yeah. So we have to go beyond Facebook. We got to touch Black people that we know that may not be on social media and bring them into what we're trying to do, because the quote unquote conscious Black people on social media, they don't seem to be doing anything other than talking and posting. And of course, that's not going to work. So again, thank you guys for making the video stream. I sincerely appreciate it. And again, I didn't know any of you other than Nanyamka 8-9 months ago. Your hair looks fine. You good to go, Mom. You okay? You all right? You good?
Thank you.
So and I met you guys through introductions and social media. So we have to keep this going. We have to keep talking to people, keep spreading the word, because as good as it sounds, it don't mean a damn thing if we don't do it. And our children, those that are coming behind us, they need what we're talking about doing, because if we don't do it, we are placing them in a position to always be a second-class citizen in this country. And we already know how this government feels about us. So let's get beyond the talk. Let's get to the do, because that's all that really matters. So thank you guys very much for making the video conference. We'll have more. I keep you posted, keep you plugged in. Love you all dearly. God bless you, and see you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Brother Robert.
Of course.